Yep, I just recorded an entire video without clicking the record button. I'm a bit rusty, not gonna lie, but it's coming back to me. But hey, I'm back, and I am gonna be back, so even next semester, I'm gonna be a heck of a lot more consistent now that the workload isn't gonna be too bad. So I can definitely dedicate more time and effort to recording videos, be it once or twice a week. And yeah, so let's hop right into today's video, which is about burnout. Well, what is burnout? Burnout is when you just lose your appetite for everything. Your hobbies, any other interests you might have, the work you're doing, be it in academia or actual work, where day in and day out, it just feels like you're dragging your feet or just dragging yourself to get things done. I would identify that as burnout. I've experienced that myself. If you haven't noticed, the last 2 months that I've uploaded not even in part two, just because of burnout. Had a huge workload, had a lot going on in terms of academia, but it was also ended up being my best semester, so I'm not complaining. In the end, it all worked out. But burnout is where you just lose touch with everything. You lose touch with who you are, you lose touch with your interests, you lose touch with whatever ounce of motivation that you had to do whatever it is that you wanted to pursue. And it's a very common thing. Happens more than you know. I've seen it all around me, be it at work or at school. So it's really important not to ignore it. Don't ignore it. It's one of those things. It's not like a physical wound, for example, where it just heals itself and it takes care of itself. When things are a bit more psychological, it's going to be one of those things where you need to be more intentional about it, and you need to take active effort, active steps to heal that part of yourself. So if you're burned out, you have to take conscious, committed efforts in order to fix that and move on. Now, one of the very crucial things to pay attention to figure out whether you've burned out or not, because that's what's happened to me, is I've noticed that I started to lose my quality of sleep. Not the amount of hours I sleep, the quality. So I could sleep for a solid 10 hours. I'd wake up exhausted, and I'd go back and take a nap a few hours later. Now, if you've guessed it, that is not productive. You can't sleep for 8 to 10 hours, wake up for a bit, be exhausted during that time, and then go back and take a nap again, or just sleep again because it's several hours afterwards. So that is very counterproductive, and you lose a lot of time that way. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. The second thing to keep in mind is just you lose interest in everything, your hobbies and all that. And once you connect the dots and you realize those two are correlated, then you need to take a conscious effort into fixing it. Now, a very crucial quote that comes to mind that I heard a while back, I forgot by who. It was a professor who was giving a lecture, and it was a YouTube video. But the quote goes, "As soon as you start to slide, you're shoveling against the tide." Now, it's one of those things where you realize that it's counterproductive. Like if you were to literally imagine yourself at the beach with a shovel and you're shoveling the water, right? Are you making any sort of change? Are you making any sort of progress? Absolutely not. You can shovel the water and throw it somewhere, but nothing changed. The water is still there and it's not going to change. The only way you can make any tangible progress in terms of getting out of the water is to take the steps out of it and away from it. So it's very crucial not to get caught up with shoveling against the tide where you think you're making effort but you're actually not, or any progress is being made is immediately undone, and to acknowledge that. Now, how would we overcome burnout? How did I overcome burnout? Several times, by the way, so it's not the first time I've burned out, unfortunately. It's like the second time. The way I get myself out of that rut is I rediscover the hobbies that I already had. So for me, it was photography, it was going out biking. As soon as I rediscovered those hobbies, went to different locations to photograph, took my bike out and took a completely different route, be it to work or just to the store, that rekindles that flame inside of you. And it makes you feel like you're gaining your purpose again. Because another thing I forgot to touch on is when you burn out, one of the other factors is that you lose your sense of purpose. You lose your sense of purpose in terms of like you don't know what it is that you're doing and how what you're doing is going to build up. What you're doing is how it's going to build up to in the future. So a loss of purpose, meaning a loss of direction, is detrimental. It can put you in a tailspin, and if you don't regain control again, you can do a lot of damage. But it was just a matter of resuming my hobbies and changing up my routine. Now, after I go to sleep and I wake up the first time after, let's say, 5 or 6 hours, I stay awake. I'm not going back and, bullshitting myself and telling myself I need the extra 2-3 hours. I don't. I have all the time I need. I get my sleep, I wake up, and I set a daily schedule. I set something that I want to do that day. 1 or 2 things. Don't overburden yourself with setting up a million things to do and then you don't get enough of them done and then you get discouraged. Pick a few things. Change up your routine, go for more walks if that's the case. Try new things, go to a new restaurant, buy new things at the grocery store. But essentially, to take yourself out of the rut you're in, you have to do something that literally gets you out of it, especially mentally. So those are the things I did. I'm slowly getting it back together. Hopefully gonna be pumping out 2 videos today, 2 videos tomorrow before the new year, because the last time I uploaded was at the end of October, I believe. So it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute. But we are back. Hopefully, my vision for this channel, I'm piecing it together in terms of what I can do to diversify it starting in the next few months. And yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. If you have any thoughts about burnout, if you have any personal experiences with burnout, make sure to leave it in the comment section below. And feel free to share this video with friends and family. Have a good day.